name is Victor Mbachi. I want to say a very, very, very big thank you once again for taking out time to watch this video. And I hope you watched the last one where I talked about understanding relationships. It was powerful. I shared with you guys the 5 boxes of relationship, understanding where you place people in life. If you haven't watched that video, make haste to watch it because I'm sure you're going to learn quite a lot from it. Okay, so today, just thinking about a lot of things. I've thought about sharing with you guys what I've titled Leading Yourself. Let me first start by telling you that life does not owe you anything. Life only responds to the things you put on the table for negotiation. Let me repeat that again so you understand. Life does not owe you anything. Life only responds to what you put on the table for negotiation. And when I say life, it's wide. Now, life could mean your parents. Your parents don't owe you anything. Your father don't owe you anything. Your uncle don't owe you anything. Even the government of your country do not owe you anything. Life only responds to what you put on the table. If you put laziness forth on the table, life will respond to you by what you put on the table. Now listen guys, the truth is, God, as much as He has created you, will not do for you the things He has given you the capacity and the strength to do. He will not do them for you. Let me give you a very good example of what I'm talking about when it has to do with leading yourself. Now you spend so much acquiring a phone, let's say a mobile phone, right? Now you expect that phone, as soon as you power it on, to come on, right? And as soon as it comes up, it starts giving you an opportunity to fiddle with the features. If that phone does not have a self-power to come on, then it's as useless as any other thing. Now, you would have serious issues with the manufacturer because the phone has refused to power itself on. Every phone that is manufactured does not wait for the manufacturer to power it on. It is expected that the user will power it on. I hope that example has given you so much insight to what I want to talk about today. I'm talking to you about leading yourself. Leading yourself. Let me quickly tell you this before I move ahead to give you 3 perspectives of what is required if you have to lead yourself, right? A dead man cannot heal a sick man. I hope you understand that. If you are stagnant, it's impossible to act a force or to impact a moving object. Now, there are 3 factors, that is required for every man to get to his place of destiny or to fulfill destiny. Number 1 is the God factor. Number 2 is the you factor. And then number 3 is the people factor. Okay? Now, but today we want to really dwell about you. So let's not put aside the fact that in the bid to lead yourself to a particular destination or to fulfill destiny, that there is no God factor. Please get it right. There are 3 factors that will, at the end of the day, help you fulfill destiny. Number 1, I've said, is the God factor. Number 2 is the you factor. And then number 3 is the people factor. That's why I said to you, you need to refer to the last video I made on understanding relationship. That absolutely talks about people and how to place them in your life. Okay? So it's like we're moving one step to the next one, which is the you factor. The you factor. How do you lead yourself? How have you been leading yourself? Or if I would ask in a better way, are you happy with the progress of your life? Are you happy with where you are? Are you happy with the things you are doing? So you must understand that your relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship. Your relationship with yourself. Now, I've seen a lot of people focus on others. Oh, what are they going to say? Or what is he going to say? Or what does he have to offer? Or what does he have for me? Guys, you need to focus on yourself. That's the first point of call. When you focus on yourself, you focus on life. And guess what? Life is the essence of our impact for other lives. Now today, I'd like to share with you, because when a man is sick, he needs to take some pills. So in this edition, I've tagged it pills. I want to share with you 5 pills. 5 pills you must take. Now, decide, I'm not going to give you a dosage. Decide on how you want to use it. Swallowing it is very hard. For some people, swallowing pills could be very hard. But I've called them pills because it is something you need to take into yourself, make it part of you, and then you would be able to lead yourself. I've called it pills because each of those letters stands for an acronym. So it's easier for you to understand and remember and query yourself when you're missing out on any of these pills, okay? Now, number 1 is preparation. Preparation. One of the greatest and most difficult tasks for people in my generation is the failure to prepare. Preparation. My mentor once said to me that the preparation for war or for battle is more important than the battle itself. Your preparation for battle is more important than the battle itself. How do you get to a destiny or a place you are not prepared for? Now, one of the things preparation does for you is it helps you anticipate what happens next. It also helps you, adjust yourself and take advantage of opportunities. Someone once said, if you go into a church or you go into a gathering and you just write a check of 3 million and you just hand it over to someone around there, guess what? They might end up blowing up that money. You know why? Because they are not prepared. There's no plan. There's no footprints. There's no idea of what to do with the money. I'm sure you'll find such a guy in ShopRite the next minute. In 2 hours, you will find him in ShopRite buying a new TV, buying new stuffs, because he's not prepared. He doesn't have an agenda. He doesn't have a plan for the money. Stop wishing and start preparing. If wishes were horses, even beggars will ride. Stop wishing and start preparing. Put pen on paper. Query yourself. My mentor once said to me, those who query themselves arrive destiny early. Query yourself. Ask yourself how. Ask yourself when. Ask yourself why. Every structure you find around had a very good building plan. Maybe some do not, but every architect and every great builder or any engineer will tell you that for you to build a standard structure, you must have a plan. You must have a plan. So the thing is, how can you lead yourself to a place you have not planned for? It's impossible. You'd get lost. Now, let me give you an example. Again, another example that fits the act of preparation. There's an adage, in one of the tribes in Nigeria that talks about a bird. Whatever a bird takes in from point A to point B is what sustains the bird. You understand? Whatever a bird eats or takes in is what sustains the bird from point A to B. Now, on the flip side, or if I would interpret what that adage means, right? Now, I see a lot of young guys and a lot of young chaps who wants to, in the word, blow. They want to blow. But they don't have an idea of what it takes to blow. They just want to wake up and blow. Have you heard somebody tell you before, oh, I wish somebody can just call me and give me 1 million. Yeah, just give me 1 million because I need money. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Now, recall the adage I just told you about a bird. Whatever you are, whatever capacity you can operate in, if we lift you exactly the way you are now, and we take you to the United States of America or any other country in Europe, you will not perform better than you are performing in Nigeria now. You know why? Because you're not prepared. Because you're not prepared for opportunities. So you must take this very first pill seriously. Take it every day, in fact, these pills I'm selling to you now in the form of advice on how to lead yourself, you can have an overdose of these pills. So don't forget, number 1 pill is preparation. Preparation. Number 2 is intention. I've seen a lot of guys, their notes are filled up. They have all the ideas in this world, but they have never taken one step. You have to be intentional about life. You have to be intentional about life. You have to be intentional about your pursuits. Get up and take that course. Get up and sign up for that class. Get up Pursue your masters. Get up and get new ideas. Be intentional about it. If wishes were horses, like I said, even beggars will ride. Be intentional. Be passionate. Everything you have written down and you have planned and prepared for must not slide through without being intentionally involved in them. So you see, what holds a lot of people back is not the lack of ideas, but the lack of faith to believe in themselves. They have it in their notes. Sometimes you ask these young chaps, can I see what you have? Let me see your vision. The vision is looking absolutely fantastic, but they haven't taken a step. All right? So the problem sometimes is not about the ideas, but it's about the lack of faith in themselves. If I take the first step, what will people say? Excuse me, you don't live for people, you live for yourself. So you need to be intentional, be very intentional about your life. You have to live your life as if you are already in it. You already know that the way you are dressed is an offshoot of the way you are dressed. Okay? So dress up for where you are going. Wake up in the morning, 5 a.m. if you have to, like every other person going to the office, go into the bath, have your bath, sit down, do productive things, go out there, drop your CVs. Guess what? The job is not going to land on your laps. Everything you require will not fall on you. You have to be intentional about it. Think about them, act upon them. That is what intention is all about. So I'd like to tell you, reality is pursuing your dreams, while fulfillment is actualizing your dreams. Okay? And that's the power of intentions. If you don't pursue, you have to be restless about your pursuit in life. You have to be restless. The things you have seen for yourself, the things you have seen about yourself, the things you have written about yourself will not just fall on you. You have to pursue them. All right? So please be very intentional. I like your ideas, I like your plans and your preparations, but I'm telling you that the second difficult pill you have to swallow now is to be intentional. Some people talk more than they do. Some can talk for 99% and they only act for 1%. Where do you belong? Sit down and query yourself. Because you know why? Thinking is easier when you are not thinking. All right, so let me tell you number 3 pills. I'm sure you're following. Number 1, I said, is preparation, planning, if you would use planning. Number 2 is intention. Be intentional about what you're doing. Now, number 3 is to leverage. You need to leverage on people. I've spoken to a few young chaps around me, and you know, sometimes they'll tell you, oh, I know what I'm doing. Excuse me, you do not know what you're doing. You've got no idea. You can plan as much as you want. You can be very intentional. But guess what? In your journey in life, there are certain people God will position your way. There are certain people you need to leverage on. And you really don't need to meet them in person. You can read about them. Leverage on the experiences of people. It has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do, with class. Please leverage on people. I have a lot of people, or I know a lot of people who find it difficult to leverage on the experience of younger generations. It's like an old man who doesn't want to ask for help using an iPhone XS. Guess what? He's going to run into troubles. Getting it on will be the first challenge. So please leverage. Relationship is the mirror with which you see things and you correct yourself. Relationship is like a mirror. You look into it, someone you're trying to model, and you ask yourself, have I gotten to that level? How can I surpass what this person has done? I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. So please leverage on relationship. Now the truth is, when you combine ignorance and leverage, trust me, you would have some good, pretty results. I'm sure you've seen a few persons as well who just do not have an idea of who to talk to. You need to leverage. There are people in your area of pursuit. There are people in your career who have gone ahead of you. I mean, you could call them mentors. You could call them friends. You could call them supporters. All I'm asking you to do is to please leverage on people. Leverage on people. Leverage on a system. Leverage on an existing system because it helps you reduce the workload. It helps you reduce the struggle of making things happen. It helps you to reduce the stress you go through achieving what others have achieved. Think of any product and you would realize that people are leveraging on the existing technology to improve on them. So if you actually want to lead yourself, you must leverage on other people's capacity to be able to do excellently well. All right? Now I'll take you back so I can be sure you're following the steps of the pills you need to take. Number one, I said, is P, which stands for preparation. The I stands for intention. You need to be intentional. The first L stands for leverage. Now let me tell you number four. The fourth letter in the spelling of pills stands for listen. 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 We live in a generation where people don't listen. Everything in them is just what they want to execute. Even when they're going to fall in a ditch, they don't care. Listen. All right, so there's a distinction between hearing and listening. A lot of people today just hear stuff. They don't listen. All right, so guess what? If you are not good at listening, your life would always be in constant chaos. If you are not good at listening, your life would always be in constant chaos. One of the greatest tools of learning is listening. One of the greatest tools of learning is listening. Are you listening to what people are saying? Because you can't bring up an absolute idea in this 21st century. So you need to listen. It's part of listening. Speak to people. Open your ears very wide. You know, the truth is, we live in a generation where people hear to respond, but don't listen to understand. They hear to respond. They are quick to respond because all they're doing is just take in the information and respond, but they are not calm enough to listen and understand. Okay, so number 5 pill, but I need you to understand the 5 pills I've shared with you. Number 5 is screening. Screen yourself. Now, from the point where you started preparing and you became very intentional and you had to leverage on people and resources, to move yourself forward, and then you had to listen to a lot of people, guess what? At some point, you must have carried excess luggage that was not in your initial plan. So number 5 tells you to take a break, calm down, and evaluate yourself. Where did I intend to find myself in 6 months, in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, even in 10 years? If you discover you're going contrary to what your initial plan is, then you need to screen yourself. In the process of leading yourself, you would find a lot of people and a lot of interferences around you. You must please screen yourself. It is called self-evaluation. Evaluate yourself. Remember I said to you earlier, those who query themselves arrive destiny early. Those who query themselves arrive destiny early. You must constantly evaluate yourself. Regularly audit your life. Regularly audit your life. Do you know why companies get audited? It is because they need to be sure that they have a balance to continue in business. Let me give you a very good example of why you need to screen yourself. If you have a 13-seater bus and you have to take 13 people to a particular destination, from the point where you started, maybe you had 2 passengers as a bus driver, and then you got to point B and you had additional 10, that makes 12. You should understand that by the time you have the full capacity to run with, you must not take more. Now, this is where people tell you that, oh, you have beaten more than you can chew. Please understand it. And this point is critical because a lot of people give up at the point of screening. They want to take every single thing along. They want to carry some do it for show. And I'm wondering, why take more burden when you cannot deliver on them? Please screen yourself. Shed weight off yourself. All right? When you screen yourself, it helps you become lighter and your journey becomes faster. I hope I've been able to pass a very strong information to you on how to lead yourself. Now, you can find out other materials online, about self-leadership and all that. But guess what? This was specifically prepared for you. And at this point, you can call me a doctor, but I really do not care. All I've prescribed to you now are the 5 pills you need to lead yourself. Recall them. Once you understand the 5 letters, then you can name them by their letters. Letter P stands for preparation. Letter I stands for intention. Letter L stands for leverage. The second letter L stands for listen. And then the 5th letter S stands for screening. Screen yourself. Take these pills, like I've said, once every day, twice every day, 3 times every day, every week, every month, every year. As long as you have breath in you, you need to take these pills to continue to lead yourself. God will not do for you the things He has given you the capacity to do for yourself. So you must lead yourself. And then you must always remember that there is a God factor, there is a you factor, and there is a people factor. All right, so in conclusion of all I've said to you, please always remember that there are better days ahead and that your future is bright, but you must lead yourself. So I learned many years back that things don't just happen. Things are made to happen. Always remember that. Things don't just happen. Things are made to happen. All right, guys. So in conclusion of all I've said to you today, please always remember that there are better days ahead and that the future is bright for you, but you must always learn to lead yourself. Secondly, and this is a quote I've always said to myself, don't let people clap for you too soon. This goes to, those who have started leading themselves already, or those who are still struggling, and are struggling to find a rhythm to lead their own life. Do not let anyone clap for you too soon, because there are better days ahead and the future ahead of you is quite bright. You don't want to miss it. Don't just sit down and wait for things to happen. Now, there is a slogan I'm going to end with, and you must remember, some people would always say, you know what, I'm taking my time. I'm taking my time. Guess what? The more of your time you take, one day somebody will take your shine and see exactly what you intended to do. You will see exactly what your vision and your plans were, and then find out that someone else has executed them. You don't want to waste time. So please, it is time to lead yourself. Don't look to anybody. Make a decision to start leading yourself. You have stayed too long at a spot. Till I come your way next time, please don't forget to continue to lead yourself, and always remember the 3 factors I told you earlier, which is the God factor, the you factor, and of course, the people factor. Now, and finally, like I've always said, life was made to be simple. It was never ordained by God to be complicated.